Dear friends, settle in with your coffee while I share something that's been weighing on my heart. You know how we sometimes pass folks on the street and wonder about their story. Well, 40-some years ago, I witnessed a moment that changed everything for one family right here in Manhattan. It started at a simple red light, nothing fancy, just an ordinary Thursday afternoon in May. But what happened next taught me more about pride, forgiveness, and what really matters than all my years in Sunday school. This isn't about rich folks and their troubles, though there's some of that. It's about how God works through our mistakes, especially the ones that seem unforgivable. Let me tell you about Thane Sterling and the moment his whole world shifted at that crosswalk on 72nd Street. The windshield wipers squeaked against dry glass, that irritating sound that sets your teeth on edge. Thane Sterling sat frozen in his Lincoln, watching the numbers count down on the crosswalk signal. 42 seconds. He always counted when his nerves got bad. An old habit from his father's hardware store days. Inventory Sundays after church. 3 figures crossed slow and careful-like. The woman in the middle wore a faded blue coat, nothing special, except Thane knew that coat. Lord help him, he knew exactly when she'd bought it. 12 years back at Macy's, on sale, arguing it was too extravagant, even marked down 70%. 2 children held her hands, maybe 6 years old. Their white canes swept back and forth, tapping out a rhythm on the asphalt. The boy had that sterling jaw, square as a barn door, just like Thane's father, just like his sister Lydia. Dead 6 years in that plane crash up in Canada. Honey, why'd you stop? Serafina touched his arm, her voice sweet as store-bought honey. We'll be late to our own engagement party. But Thane couldn't breathe right. The woman, it was Alara, sure as sunrise. 4 years since he'd told her to pack her things and get out. 4 years since those photographs of her with another man showed up at his office. The little girl turned her face toward their car. Unseeing eyes, somehow finding him through the windshield. Same pointed chin Lydia had, same way of tilting her head when listening to something far off. Those poor children, Serafina said, adjusting her pearl necklace. Blind as bats. And that woman looks like she hasn't eaten a proper meal in months. The boy stopped middle of the street, turned his face up like he was listening to something. Mama, his voice carried clear through Thane's cracked window. Somebody's heart is beating real fast in that big car. Keep walking, Atlas, Alara said, and hearing her voice after all these years hit Thane like a fist to the chest. We're almost across. Atlas, Aurora, the names Lydia had picked out years ago at Thanksgiving dinner, laughing over sweet potato casserole. Hey, if I ever have twins, she'd said, I'll name them after things that help us find our way. Thane's hand was on the door handle before his brain caught up. What in heaven's name are you doing? Serafina's fingernails dug through his suit jacket, not harsh, just surprised. But he was already out, leaving the door hanging open, walking toward them like a man in a dream. Behind him, folks started honking. Thursday afternoon in Manhattan, nobody had patience for whatever drama was playing out. Alara had made it to the sidewalk. She knelt down, adjusting Atlas's collar with shaking hands. The boy stood still as a statue, trained to let his mama fuss. The girl, Aurora, hummed something. Sounded like one of those old hymns from Thane's childhood, though he couldn't place which one. Alara, she went rigid as a fence post. Her shoulders dropped, not relaxing, more like accepting something inevitable. She stood up slow, that careful way folks do when their bones hurt. When she turned around, Thane saw what 4 years had done. The round face he'd kissed every morning was all angles now. Her eyes, once bright as July sunshine, had gone flat as old pennies. Mr. Sterling?" Not Thane. Sure, not any of the pet names she used to whisper. "Didn't expect to see you here." "Mama." Aurora's voice went high with worry. "Your heart's going too fast. Should we find a bench?" The child's hand pressed against Ilara's wrist, feeling for the pulse like she was reading Braille. "I'm fine, sweetheart. These children." Thane couldn't finish the sentence. "Are Lydia's—" "Yes." Ilara reached in her coat pocket, pulled out folded papers, handed them over like she'd been carrying them around, waiting for this moment. "Birth certificates. She sent them to me 2 days before the crash. Asked me to raise them if anything happened." Thane stared at the papers. Montreal General Hospital, 6 years ago. Mother Lydia Sterling, father unknown. She never told me she was expecting. She never told anybody except me. Ilara's hand found Atlas's shoulder, steadying herself or him. Hard to tell which. The father was married to a professor at the university. His wife had been making threats. The click of heels on concrete announced Serafina. She'd left the Lincoln to fend for itself, and her fancy shoes caught in a sidewalk crack, making her stumble just a touch. "Well," she said, voice dripping sweet poison. "Isn't this touching? A little reunion with your—" She paused, looking at Ilara like something that needed scraping off her shoe. "With her." Atlas turned toward Serafina's voice, his blind eyes somehow finding her face dead center. "Why does the lady smell like sadness?" The question hung in the air like morning fog. Serafina's face did something complicated. Surprise, confusion, then something else that passed too quick to catch. Children say the oddest things, she managed, but her laugh came out sharp as breaking glass. "We need to go," Ilara said quiet-like. She took each child's hand. "Say goodbye." "Goodbye, scared lady," Aurora said, matter of fact. "I hope you find what you're looking for." They walked away, the three of them moving together like they'd practiced it 1,000 times. Ilara's coat caught the breeze, and something fell from her pocket. A prescription bottle, orange plastic catching the afternoon sun. Thane picked it up before Serafina could see. The label made his blood run cold as January, Mount Sinai Hospital Oncology Department. James, Ilara tamoxifen 20 mg cancer medicine, the kind they gave his mother before she passed. Before we continue, please leave a like and subscribe. Let me know which city you're watching from. Now, let's get back to the story. The prescription bottle felt heavy as a stone in Thane's pocket. The plastic edges cut through the fabric into his palm, where he gripped it. Serafina stood there on the sidewalk, arms crossed, that little crease between her eyebrows she got when the restaurant brought the wrong wine. "What was that about?" she asked. "That woman, your ex-wife." "Nothing." The lie came out rough. "Let's go." "You picked something up." "Just litter." Her eyes narrowed, but a traffic cop was walking toward the Lincoln, ticket book out. Thane jogged back, Serafina's heels clicking behind him like a typewriter. The cop had that tired look, end of shift, feet probably killing him. "This your vehicle?" "Yes, sir. Sorry about that. Can't just leave it running in traffic." But he put the ticket book away, seeing something in Thane's face. "Everything all right? Family emergency?" The cop nodded, waved them on. Thane slid behind the wheel, pulled into traffic. The prescription bottle pressed against his ribs. Third refill. That meant Ilara had been on cancer medicine for months, maybe longer. "You're sweating," Serafina said, adjusting the air conditioning, always colder when she was thinking. "And you're gripping that steering wheel like it might run away." 2 blocks north, 3 blocks. The engagement party was at the Waldorf. 200 guests, $50,000. all waiting for them to arrive and play happy couple. His phone buzzed on the console. Text from his business partner. "Where are you? Pull over," Serafina said suddenly. "What? Pull over now." Something in her voice made him obey. He found a loading zone, put on the hazards. She turned in her seat, faced him full on. "I know about the children." The words hung there. Thane's mouth went dry as sawdust. "What children?" "Lydia's twins. I've known for months." She pulled out her phone, showed him a photo. Elara at a playground, pushing Aurora on a swing, while Atlas stood nearby, counting something on his fingers. "My investigator took this 6 weeks ago. You had someone following her. I had someone following you, making sure there weren't any surprises before the wedding." Her voice stayed calm, reasonable, like she was discussing grocery lists. "Imagine my surprise when he found your ex-wife raising your sister's secret children." Thane stared at the photo. Elara looked thin even 6 weeks ago, but she was smiling. When had he last seen her smile like that? "How long has she been sick?" Serafina asked. "I don't know. The investigator says she's been going to Mount Sinai 3 times a week. Chemotherapy. He thinks 3 times a week. While raising 2 blind children alone." Thane's chest tightened. "We should go to the party," Serafina said. "Announce our engagement. Move forward with our lives." She reached for his pad. Her fingers were cold, always cold. "Unless," she added softly, "you'd rather chase after a dying woman and children who aren't even yours." Thane pulled the Lincoln back into traffic without answering. The prescription bottle burned against his ribs. 3 times a week for chemotherapy? He'd driven past Mount Sinai 3 times a week for months, never knowing. "Where are you going?" Serafina's voice had an edge now, sharp as winter wind. "The party's at the Waldorf. That's north. We're heading south." His hands moved the wheel without permission, following the path those 3 figures had taken, down 72nd toward the subway entrance. The one with the broken tile he'd complained about to the mayor's office 2 years back when such things mattered. "Thane Sterling, you turn this car around right now." But he'd already seen them, at the subway entrance, Elara fumbling in her purse while the children waited, patient as churchgoers. Her hand shook trying to find the Metro card. He pulled over hard, tires squealing, out of the car before Serafina could grab him. His dress shoes, the ones from Italy, $500, slapped against the sidewalk. "Elara, wait!" She turned, and up close he could see what the distance had hidden, the yellowing around her eyes, the way her coat hung loose where it used to fit snug, that particular exhaustion that came from fighting your own body. "We've got nothing to say to each other." Her voice came out raspy, like she'd been coughing. "These children, Lydia's children, why didn't you tell me? When exactly should I have done that?" She found the Metro card finally, hands still trembling, "when you were throwing my things onto the street, when your lawyer sent the divorce papers, when you had the doorman bar me from the building." Atlas tilted his head. That bird-like gesture. "Mama, this man's breathing sounds like yours when you're trying not to cry." "Hush now. But he is. Listen, his breath catches every 3rd inhale." The boy was right. Thane could feel it, that hitch in his chest like a motor missing a gear. 4 years, Thane managed. 4 years you've had them. 4 years, 2 months, and 18 days. Aurora spoke up, her voice matter-of-fact. "That's how long we've lived with Mama. She marks it on the calendar in Braille so we can feel it." Serafina's heels announced her arrival, that particular click-click that meant trouble. She'd fixed her lipstick, arranged her face into concerned sweetness. "Darling, 200 people are waiting." She touched his arm, possessive. including Senator Walsh. You know how he hates tardiness. 5 more minutes. We don't have 5 minutes. She turned to Ilara, and her smile could have frozen July. I'm sure you understand. Some of us have obligations. Yes, Ilara said quietly. Some of us do. She tried to guide the children down the subway stairs, but Atlas stopped. Mr. Sterling, the boy said, turning those unseeing eyes up with perfect accuracy. Are you the one who made Mama cry at night? She tries to be quiet, but I hear everything. The words hit like cold water. Ilara pulled the boy closer. That's enough, Atlas. But he should know about the crying, about the blood when you cough, about how you tell us stories about him even though, Atlas, one word, sharp as breaking chalk. The boy went quiet. Aurora found his hand, squeezed it. Ilara swayed on her feet just slightly, like grass in a breeze. Her free hand grabbed the subway railing, knuckles white as paper. When's the last time you ate? The question jumped out of Thane's mouth. This morning. What'd you eat? Toast. Just toast. The children had eggs. I wasn't hungry. Serafina laughed, bright and false. How admirable, the self-sacrificing mother act. That's when Ilara's knees buckled, not dramatically. Just a slow fold, like laundry sliding off a line. Thane caught her before she hit the concrete. She weighed nothing, just bones wrapped in that blue coat. Mama! Both children reached out, hands searching air. I'm all right. But her voice came out whisper-thin, just tired. You're not all right. Thane helped her to the bench beside the subway entrance. The metal was cold through his suit. When's your next treatment? Tomorrow. She pulled away from his supporting arm. 2 o'clock. I'll drive you. No, Ilara. I said no. She stood, using the wall for support. We've managed 4 years without you. We'll manage 4 more. She guided the children down the stairs, each step careful and measured. At the landing, she stopped, turned back. Ask your fiancé about the white roses, she said. 47 of them at Lydia's funeral. Ask her how she knew to send exactly 47. Then they were gone, swallowed by the subway's darkness. Thane stood there, counting his own heartbeat. 47 roses. Lydia had been 47 days pregnant when she died. He turned to Serafina. She'd gone pale under her foundation. How did you know? Serafina's mouth opened, closed, opened again like a fish pulled from water. The subway entrance exhaled stale air and the smell of hot metal. Someone's radio played Patsy Cline from a window above. Crazy, drifting down like smoke. I sent flowers to your sister's funeral. Serafina's voice came out steady, but her hands twisted her pearl necklace. Is that a crime? You didn't know her. I knew of her. Everyone in our circle did. 47 roses. She was 47 days pregnant. Serafina's hand stilled on the pearls. One broke free, bounced on the concrete, rolled into a crack. Coincidence. Try again. She bent to retrieve the pearl, but couldn't reach it. Her perfect composure cracking like her necklace. The party. 200 guests. Cancel it. You can't be serious. Thane was already walking back to the Lincoln. He pulled out his phone, called his secretary. Martha canceled tonight. Food poisoning. Something. He hung up before she could respond. You're destroying everything for that woman. Serafina followed him, one heel scraping where the leather had torn. She cheated on you. You saw the photographs. I saw what you wanted me to see. That's ridiculous. The investigator, the one you hired. See? Thane opened the car door. Get in. We're going to Brooklyn. I'm not going to Brooklyn. Then take a cab. He started the engine. She got in, slammed the door hard enough to rattle the windows. They drove in silence down FDR Drive, Manhattan falling away behind them. The Lincoln's leather seats, $12,000 of comfort, felt like sitting on broken glass. Bay Ridge rose around them 40 minutes later. Different world out here. Laundry hanging between buildings like prayer flags. Kids playing stickball in the street. The smell of food from a dozen different countries mixing in the humid air. The building sat on 4th Avenue like a tired old man. 6 stories of red brick, fire escape rust painting stripes down the facade. Thane recognized it from Serafina's investigator photos. "You're really going in there?" Serafina stayed in the car. "Yes, that's her choice. You know, living like this, she could have asked for alimony. She had too much pride." "Pride?" Serafina laughed, bitter as black coffee. "That's what you call it." Thane climbed the steps. No buzzer system. Just a door propped open with a phone book from 2080. The lobby smelled of cabbage and pine sol. Mailboxes hung crooked, names in various scripts. E. James, Forbes, the B, written backward in a child's hand. 4 flights up, his Italian shoes slipping on worn linoleum. Each landing had its own smell. Curry on 2, cigarettes on 3, something sweet like baking bread on 4. He could hear televisions, arguments, a baby crying, someone practicing violin. Apartment 4B had a welcome mat worn down to threads. A child's drawing taped to the door. 2 stick figures holding hands with a taller figure, all 3 smiling under a yellow crayon sun. He knocked. Footsteps, light and quick. Aurora's voice. "Who is it, Mr. Sterling?" Whispered Conference behind the door, then Atlas. "Mama's in the bathroom. She's throwing up." The lock turned. Aurora stood there in a dress that had been let down at the hem twice. The ghost lines of previous lengths still visible. Behind her, the apartment opened up, smaller than his office bathroom. "Come in," Atlas said from the couch. "But take off your shoes. The neighbors downstairs complain about footsteps." Thane removed his shoes, placed them beside 3 pairs by the door. Ilara's flats with the soles worn through. 2 pairs of children's sneakers with Velcro straps. The apartment was clean but tired. Furniture from Goodwill or street corners, arranged precisely so the children could navigate. Labels in Braille on everything. The walls covered in the children's artwork. Finger paintings where Aurora had felt her way through color. Atlas's sculptures made from paper and paste. The bathroom door opened. Ilara emerged, dabbing her mouth with a washcloth. She'd changed from the blue coat into sweatpants and a Yankees t-shirt from the 90s. Without the coat's bulk, she looked skeletal. "You shouldn't be here. You need help. We manage." "Do you?" Thane crossed to the kitchen area. Hot plate, mini fridge, sink full of dishes. The fridge held milk, eggs, white bread, a jar of peanut butter nearly empty, scraped clean around the edges. "This is managing. The children eat 3 meals a day." "What about you?" "I eat when I'm hungry." "When's that?" She didn't answer, moved to the couch, sat down carefully like everything hurt. The cushions were patched with duct tape. Atlas found her hand. "Tell him about the letter, Mama." "What letter?" "Nothing. The one from the place with the nice lady." Aurora added, "Where we might go live." Ilara's face tightened. "Children, go play in your room. We want to stay at room now." They went, Aurora guiding Atlas through the doorway. The bedroom door closed, but not all the way. Thane could see them pressed against the crack, listening. "What place?" he asked. Ilara pulled papers from between couch cushions. St. Catherine's Orphanage. "Intake appointment," circled in red. "You're putting them in an orphanage." "I'm dying." Matter of fact, as stating the weather, the oncologist gives me 2 months, maybe 3. There are treatments that I can't afford, that insurance won't cover. Experimental trials I don't qualify for. She folded the papers carefully. The orphanage has programs for blind children. Pane, they can stay together. I have money. No. The word came out sharp as breaking ice. I won't have you swooping in now, playing savior, then resenting them later when the novelty wears off. They're Lydia's children. They're my children. I raised them, changed their diapers, taught them to use their canes, held them through nightmares about sounds they couldn't see. Her voice cracked. They're mine. She stood too fast, swayed. Thane caught her arm. Under his fingers, he could feel bones through his skin, nothing but architecture holding her together. Let me help. Like you helped when you believed those photographs? She pulled away. The man in those pictures. Want to know who he was? I don't. My cousin, DeMarcus Yamamoto, head of pediatric surgery at Mount Sinai. She laughed, bitter. He was comforting me after Lydia's funeral. His wife had just died of pancreatic cancer. We were two people grieving, holding each other up. Your investigator just happened to catch the perfect angle. The room tilted. Thane grabbed the wall. Your cousin, by marriage, Janet's cousin, but family nonetheless. She moved up to a bookshelf made of boards and cinder blocks, pulled out a photo album. Here, our wedding, Marcus and Janet, me as bridesmaid. You were in Shanghai. Remember, the deal that couldn't wait? The photographs told the truth his investigators had hidden. Marcus and Janet's wedding. Ilara smiling beside a Japanese woman in white. Another photo. Christmas dinner. Marcus carving turkey, while Ilara held baby pictures. The twins, newly arrived. He still helps when he can, Ilara continued. Drops off groceries, checks on the kids. The only family we have left. From the bedroom, Aurora's voice drifted out. Uncle Marcus brings good cookies. I told you to stay in your room, Ilara called. We are in our room. The door's closed? Most of the way closed, Atlas added. Despite everything, Ilara almost smiled. Then her face changed, hand flying to her mouth. She rushed to the bathroom. The sound of retching echoed through thin walls. Thane stood in the middle of the apartment, holding the photo album. On the coffee table, a board on cinder blocks, lay a journal. Worn leather, swollen with ink and tears. A marker held a page. He knew he shouldn't look. Looked anyway. Day, something for it. Can't keep food down anymore. Children know something's wrong. Atlas counts my breaths when he thinks I'm sleeping. Aurora sings the lullabies I taught her like she's trying to sing me better. Tomorrow I call St. Catherine's. Sister Mary says they have room. Says the children will adjust. Children always do, she says. But she doesn't know my children. Doesn't know how Atlas needs exactly 12 steps from bed to bathroom. How Aurora needs to touch my face each morning to know I'm still here. God, if you're listening, not for me, for them, let someone love them the way they deserve. Let someone see past the blindness to the miracle they are. The entry ended there. Ink splattered where the pen had dropped. The toilet flushed. Water ran. Ilara emerged, grayer than before. You read it? Yes. Then you know. She moved to the window, looked out at the street below. Thursday, I take them for a visit. Make it sound fun, an adventure. Leave them there. I won't let you. She turned, and for the first time since the crosswalk, he saw emotion crack through. You won't let me. You don't get to let me do anything. You gave up that right when you chose to believe lies over 20 years of marriage. The photographs looked real, did they? Or did they look like what you expected, what you were waiting for, the other shoe to drop? She gripped the windowsill. You never really trusted me, always waiting for me to prove I was after your money. The truth of it hit like a physical blow. All those prenups, the separate accounts, the careful distance he'd maintained even in their bed. I loved you, he said. You loved the idea of me, The perfect wife who didn't care about your wealth. She laughed, hollow. Joke's on both of us. Now you have all the wealth. I have all the love. And we're both dying from it. The apartment door opened. Serafina stood there, having climbed 4 flights in her designer heels. Her makeup had run, mascara streaking like war paint. "The investigator just called," she said. "The one I hired 2 years ago to watch you." "Thane?" She looked at Elara. "He has something else. About the plane crash." She held out her phone. On the screen, a video, airport security footage, grainy but clear enough. Lydia at a coffee shop. A woman behind her, slipping something into her cup. The woman turned toward the camera. Catherine Walsh, Senator Walsh's daughter. The phone screen glowed in the dim apartment. Catherine Walsh's face, frozen in the act of dropping something into Lydia's coffee cup. The timestamp read 6:47 a.m., 3 hours before the plane took off, 4 hours before it fell from the sky over Manitoba farmland. "Play it again," Thane said. Serafina touched the screen. The video repeated. Catherine Walsh, the coffee shop, the small white pill dissolving. "What was it?" Elara asked from the couch, voice thin as thread. "GPS tracker, the investigator thinks. Dissolved in liquid, so they'd know exactly where the plane was." Serafina's hand shook, holding the phone. Catherine's husband worked for a defense contractor. Access to that kind of technology. Atlas emerged from the bedroom, Aurora behind him. "We're not supposed to be listening," he announced, "but we are." Nobody sent them back. Thane took the phone, studied the video. His sister, 6 years, dead, sitting there drinking coffee. No idea death was dissolving in her cup. She looked tired in the footage, kept touching her belly, protective, maternal. "There's more," Serafina said. She swiped to another file. This was in Lydia's safety deposit box. The investigator acquired it. "You mean stole it," Elara said. "Borrowed, with help from a banker who owed me a favor." The new file was a letter, Lydia's handwriting, the same loops their mother had taught them both. "If you're reading this..." Something happened. "David's wife has been following me. Black sedan. License starts with Kekovpoy. She knows about the babies, knows I won't terminate. David wants to leave her, but she has connections, the kind that make problems disappear. The twins were born early, 32 weeks. They're blind. Genetic condition from David's side. He didn't tell me until after. Doesn't matter. They're perfect. I'm sending them to Elara tomorrow. She'll love them right. Not like property to acquire, but like children to raise. Thane would try to fix them, cure them, make them into something else. Elara will let them be who they are. Tell Thane I forgive him for Shanghai, for missing Dad's funeral, for choosing deals over dinners. That's his way of loving, through building things, acquiring things. But babies need presents, not presents. There's money in account 447829, not much. I couldn't touch the family trust without questions. Use it for the twins. All my love, Lydia. The letter fluttered from Thane's fingers. Aurora picked it up, fingers tracing the paper like she could feel the word. "Aunt Lydia loved us before we were born," she said. "How do you know that's what it says?" Thane asked. "Because Mamapa cries when she reads it. Happy tears and sad tears mixed together. They sound different." Elara stood, moved to the kitchen area. Her hand shook, filling a glass with tap water. "Why now? Why show us this now?" Serafina sat on the patched couch, designer dress against duct tape. "Because Catherine Walsh gets out tomorrow." The glass slipped, hit the floor, shattered. Water spread across cracked linoleum. "That's impossible. She killed, allegedly, never proven. She's in minimum security for tax evasion. 3-year sentence, out in 18 months, for good behavior." Serafina pulled up another file. Her father pulled strings. Senator Walsh still has influence. Atlas moved toward the broken glass, but Alara stopped him. "Stay back. I'll clean it." She knelt, picking up pieces with bare fingers. A shard caught her palm, blood welling red against pale skin. She didn't seem to notice. Thane grabbed a dish rag, pressed it to her hand. "You're bleeding." "It's fine." "It's not fine." The rag turned red quickly, too quickly. "You're on blood thinners." "The chemo makes me bruise and bleed easy." She pulled away, held the rag herself. "Aurora, get the bandages from the bathroom. Atlas, count to 300. If I'm still bleeding, then we call Uncle Marcus." The children moved with practiced efficiency. They'd done this before. "1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi," Atlas began. Aurora returned with a first aid kit held together with rubber bands. Child's hands finding gauze, tape, working by touch. She'd learned to bandage wounds she couldn't see. "This is how you live." Thane couldn't keep the anger out of his voice. "Bleeding on the kitchen floor while 6-year-olds play nurse. This is how we survive." Alara let Aurora wrap her hand. "We take care of each other. 57 Mississippi, 58 Mississippi. Catherine Walsh wants you all dead," Serafina said. "You're witnesses. The twins are evidence of the affair. Alara knows too much. She can want whatever she likes from prison. From supervised release, starting tomorrow, compassionate leave for her mother's funeral." Serafina showed another document. Except her mother died 3 months ago. The funeral was last week. 112 Mississippi, 113 Asashoa. The bandage soaked through. Aurora added more gauze, her small fingers steady. "We need to leave," Thane said. "Tonight, all of us. I can't travel. The chemo will kill you slower than Catherine Walsh will. 200 Mississippi, 201. Alara stood, swaying slightly. The blood had stopped, mostly. "Where would we go?" "I have a cabin, upstate. Nothing fancy, but private, safe." "Your fishing cabin?" Alara almost smiled. "The one you bought but never used, 20 years of marriage, and you went twice." "I was building the business." "You were always building something." 289, 290. "It stopped," Aurora announced, feeling the bandage for wetness. "No more blood coming through," Atlas finished anyway. 300. Alara looked at her children, at the small apartment that had been their world, at the artwork on the walls, the carefully arranged furniture, the braille labels they'd made together. "We can't just leave. We can't stay." Serafina stood, moved to the window. "There's a car down there." "Black sedan. Been there since we arrived." Everyone moved to look except the twins. Sure enough, parked across the street, engine running, license plate started with K4T. "That's the one from Aunt Lydia's letter," Atlas said. He'd memorized it from hearing it once. The car door opened. A woman stepped out. Even from 4 floors up, even in the fading light, her face was clear. Catherine Walsh. 18 months in prison had sharpened her, honed her down to purpose. She looked up at their window, waved. "She knows we're here," Alara whispered. "Pack," Thane ordered. "Essentials only. We leave in 10 minutes. "I can't just 9 minutes now." Alara moved to the bedroom, the children following. Thane could hear drawers opening, the zip of suitcases. Aurora asking which toys they could take, Atlas counting steps to memorize a path he might never walk again. Serafina pulled out her phone. "I'm calling the police." "Don't!" Thane grabbed her hand. "Her father owns half the judges in New York. She'll be released in an hour with an apology." "Then what? We run? We hide. We figure out the rest later." From the bedroom, Aurora's voice. "Mama, you're shaking?" "I'm just cold." "Sweetheart?" "No, you're scared." I can feel it in your hands." Thane moved to the bedroom door. Ilara sat on a twin bed, holding a small suitcase. Inside medicine bottles, a few clothes, the photo album, the children's whole life in one bag. 7 minutes, he said. She looked up at him. "I can't protect them anymore. I'm too weak." "That's why I'm here." "For how long?" "Until the next business deal, the next merger. For as long as you'll let me." She stood, using the bed frame for support. The twins need consistency, routine. Their blindness makes them remarkable, not broken. Atlas turned from his own packing. "We're not broken. No, son, not even close." The word son hung in the air. Atlas tilted his head, considering. "I'd like that," the boy said finally. "Being your son, if Mama says it's okay." Before anyone could respond, glass shattered in the living room. Serafina screamed. They rushed out to find the window broken, a brick on the floor. Tied to it, a note, "You have what's mine. Give back the children or burn with them." Smoke started seeping under the apartment door. The hallway fire alarm shrieked to life. "Fire!" someone yelled from below. "The building's on fire!" Aurora grabbed her cane, then Atlas's hand. Which way out? But Thane could already see the orange glow under the door. The main stairs were gone. The fire escape was 4 apartments down, past walls already warming to the touch. They were trapped. Smoke pressed under the door like dark fingers reaching. The wood was already hot to the touch. Thane pulled his hand back, palm stinging. "Bathroom," he said. "Now." They moved together, Atlas counting steps out of habit. 1, 2, 3. No time for counting. Thane scooped him up. The boy weighed nothing, all sharp bones and narrow shoulders. Ilara grabbed Aurora's hand, but her knees buckled. Serafina caught her, held her upright. Together they stumbled into the bathroom, cramped, window facing the air shaft, barely room for all 5. Thane set Atlas down, turned the bathtub faucets full blast. Cold water sputtered brown, then clear. Soaked towels. Stuffed them under the door. The children worked without panic. They'd practiced fire drills with Ilara, feeling their way through emergency procedures. Aurora found towels by touch, passed them to Atlas, who held them under the stream. "Too small," Serafina said, looking at the window. "We can't fit through that." She was right. Maybe a child could squeeze through, but not adults. The glass was painted shut anyway, decades of landlord neglect sealing them in. Smoke started seeping through the bathroom door despite the wet towels. Ilara coughed, harsh and wet. When she pulled her hand away from her mouth, blood speckled her palm. "The children first," she said. "Get them out. We stay together." Thane grabbed the plunger, used the wooden handle to break the window. Glass scattered into the air shaft. Cool air rushed in, but smoke rushed out faster, creating a chimney effect that pulled more smoke into the bathroom. Someone pounded on the apartment door. "Fire department! In here!" Thane shouted. "Bathroom!" 4 adults, 2 children. The pounding stopped, then started again, harder. They were axing through. Wood splintered. Crash, heavy footsteps. A firefighter appeared in the bathroom doorway, full gear, mask, oxygen tank. "How many?" 5. 2 blind children. The firefighter spoke into his radio. "Need 2 more units to 4B. Got 5 victims, 2 pediatric special needs." "The hallway?" Thane asked. "Like a furnace? We're going out the window." "It's too small." "Not that window." The firefighter moved past them to the bedroom. "This one?" More firefighters arrived, carrying equipment. They shattered the bedroom window with a Halligan bar outside. A ladder truck was extending its reach, but it would take minutes they didn't have. Smoke filled the apartment now, black and thick. "Masks first!" A firefighter fitted child-sized oxygen masks over the twins' faces. "You 2 are going to ride with us, okay?" "We can't see," Atlas said through the mask. Voice muffled. "That's all right, buddy. I'll be your eyes. You just hold on tight." They carried the children out first, one firefighter per child disappearing into the smoke. Thane heard Aurora crying, then nothing, just the roar of fire eating wood and plaster. "You next," the firefighter told Ilara. "I can't. I'm too weak." He picked her up like she weighed nothing. "Just breathe, ma'am." She disappeared into the smoke. That left Thane and Serafina. The heat was unbearable now, even through the firefighter's proximity. Paint bubbled on the walls. "Together," the firefighter said. "Stay low, follow me." They crawled through the apartment. The living room was an orange hell. The couch where Ilara had read her journal was aflame. The children's artwork curled and blackened on the walls. The braille labels melted. The bedroom window, ladder against the sill, fresh air that hurt to breathe after the smoke. Thane went first, Serafina behind him. 4 floors down Shishk, the ladder swaying with their weight. "Don't look down." But he did. Saw Catherine Walsh standing across the street, watching, on the ground. Paramedics had the twins on gurneys, oxygen masks, IV lines already in. Aurora's eyes were closed, but Atlas was awake, head turning, listening. "Mama," he called. "Mr. Sterling, I'm here." Thane grabbed his hand, so small, but the grip strong. "Aurora won't wake up. She breathed too much smoke," a paramedic said. "We're taking them both to Presbyterian. You family?" "Yes," Thane said without hesitation. Ilara was on another gurney, struggling to sit up. A paramedic pushed her back down. "Ma'am, you need to—" "My children, they're okay," Thane said. Moving to her, "I'm going with them." "All of us are." Serafina appeared, her designer dress torn and blackened. "We're family." The paramedic looked skeptical, but there wasn't time to argue. They loaded the gurneys, Thane climbing into the ambulance with the twins. Through the back window, he saw the building fully engulfed now. Everything Ilara had built for 4 years, gone in minutes. The ride to Presbyterian took 8 minutes. Atlas counted them aloud. Aurora stayed unconscious, her small chest rising and falling under the oxygen mask. The paramedic kept checking her vitals, adjusting things, not saying what his frown meant. At the hospital, they separated them. The twins to pediatric emergency, Ilara to oncology. They knew her there, had her records. Serafina and Thane to waiting room chairs that had held 1,000 other disasters. "She did it," Serafina said. "Catherine Walsh burned a building with children inside. She'll say it was electrical. Old building, bad wiring. The brick through the window." "What brick?" "It's ash now." Serafina pulled out her phone. "I took a picture. Before the smoke got too thick, there it was. The brick, the note, the broken glass, evidence. Send it to—" Thane stopped. "Send it to who police owned by Senator Walsh FBI, who'd take months to investigate." Dr. Marcus Yamamoto appeared in the waiting room doorway, tall, graying at the temples, the kind face from the photographs, Ilara's cousin by marriage, the man Thane had believed was her lover. "You're Thane Sterling," Marcus said. Not a question. "Yes." "Ilara's in respiratory distress. The smoke aggravated her condition. We've intubated her." He paused. "The children? Aurora won't wake up. Atlas is conscious, but I'll check on them." Marcus started to leave, then turned back. "She talked about you, even after everything. Said you were a good man who lost his way." "She's wrong. I was never that good." "No, but you're here now." Marcus disappeared down the hall. An hour passed. 2. Serafina paced, making calls. Her investigator, her lawyer, building a case nobody would prosecute. Thane sat still, watching the door, waiting for news. A police officer appeared, young, nervous. "Mr. Sterling, I need to ask about the fire. It was arson." "Sir, there's no evidence." Serafina showed him the photo. He studied it, face carefully neutral. "I'll file a report," he said. "But this could be anyone. The image is unclear." "It's Catherine Walsh, Senator Walsh's daughter. She's in federal custody." "She's on supervised release. Check your records." The officer made a call. His face changed. "She was released this morning." "Compassionate leave?" Another pause. "But her ankle monitor shows her at home all evening." "Then it's malfunctioning." "I'll make a note." The officer left, and they both knew nothing would come of it. Marcus returned, looking exhausted. "Aurora's awake, asking for her mother." "Thank God." The words came out before Thane could stop them. He hadn't prayed in years, but it felt right. "Can we see them?" "Family only." "We are family," Serafina said firmly. Marcus studied her. This woman in her ruined designer dress, soot in her hair, mascara streaking her face. "You're the fiancé, the one who hired investigators." "Former fiancé." "And yes, Elara knows, she knows everything." Thane said, "Can we see the children or not?" Marcus led them through pediatric ICU, past rooms of small bodies attached to big machines. The twins were in the same room, beds pushed close so they could hold hands across the gap. Atlas heard them first. "Mr. Sterling, your heartbeat sounds better. Not so scared. How are you feeling, buddy?" "Like I swallowed a campfire. But Aurora's okay. That's what matters." Aurora turned toward Thane's voice. "Where's Mama?" "Resting." The smoke made her sick. "Sicker," Atlas corrected. "She was already sick." "Is she going to die?" Aurora asked. The question hung in antiseptic air. Thane looked at these two children who'd lost their birth mother, might lose the only mother they remembered, who navigated darkness with more grace than he'd ever navigated light. "I don't know," he said. Truth seemed the only gift worth giving. "But you'll stay?" Atlas asked. "Even if Mama goes to heaven, I'll stay. Promise. Promise." Serafina moved to the window, looking out at the parking lot. She stiffened. "Thane!" He joined her in the lot below, a black sedan, license starting with K4T. Catherine Walsh stood bearded, looking up at their window. She raised something to her ear. A phone. The hospital room phone rang. Marcus answered. "Pediatric ICU?" His face went white. "Yes, she's here." He held out the phone. "It's for you and Mr. Sterling. She says it's about the children's father." Thane took the phone. Catherine Walsh's voice came through clear and cold. "Hello, brother-in-law. We need to talk about what belongs to me." "The children aren't property." Thane's hand tightened on the phone until the plastic creaked. "They don't belong to anyone." "Oh, but they do." Catherine Walsh's voice had a tinny quality through the hospital phone, like an old recording. "My husband's children. That makes them mine by law." "Your husband's dead. Missing? There's a difference." 7 years until he's declared dead. Until then, I'm his legal next of kin. Those children are mine." Thane looked at the twins in their hospital beds. Atlas had turned toward the phone conversation, head cocked, listening. Aurora's fingers found her brother's hand across the gap between beds. "David signed away his rights," Thane said. "Lydia had documents." "Lydia's dead." "Convenient how that happened, isn't it?" A pause. "Meet me in the hospital chapel. 10 minutes, alone, or I call my father's friends at Child Services." The line went dead. Marcus took the phone from Thane's numb fingers. "What did she want?" "The twins. She can't just take them. There are procedures. Courts. Her father is Senator Walsh. He owns judges like some people own shoes. Thane moved toward the door. I need to go. Not alone, Serafina said. She said alone, and you trust her. Atlas sat up in bed, the movement making him cough. Miss Sterling, her heart sounds wrong. Whose heart? The lady on the phone? When her voice came through, I could hear it, like a drum with a broken skip, thump, skip, thump, skip. The boy's unseeing eyes fixed on Thane with uncanny accuracy. Mama's heart does that when she forgets her medicine. What medicine? The little white pills. Digitalis, she calls it. Marcus grabbed a medical chart, started writing. Heart arrhythmia. If Catherine Walsh has an untreated condition, she was in federal prison for 18 months, Serafina said. They would have treated anything serious. Unless she refused treatment or hid it. Marcus pulled out his phone. I have a friend at the federal detention center. Let me make a call. Thane left them, discussing medical possibilities. The hospital chapel was on the first floor, tucked between the gift shop and the morgue. Fitting placement. He thought hope and death with God in the middle. The chapel was empty, except for Catherine Walsh. She sat in the front pew, unchanged from the parking lot except for ash smudges on her coat, evidence she'd gotten close to her own fire. You came. She didn't turn around. Lydia wouldn't have. She'd have run, taken those children, disappeared. But you're not Lydia. No, I'm not. Sit. Thane remained standing. What do you want? Justice. She turned then, and he saw what 18 months in prison had done. Her face was gaunt, eyes sunk deep. But it was more than physical. Something inside her had broken and healed wrong, like a bone set crooked. Justice. You killed my sister. Your sister killed my marriage. Catherine stood, moved closer, too close. He could smell her, stale cigarettes and something medicinal. David was mine. 20 years of marriage. Then your whore sister. Don't? What don't tell the truth? She seduced him, got pregnant on purpose, thought a baby would make him leave me. She loved him. Love. Catherine laughed, the sound echoing off the chapel walls. You know what love is? It's watching your husband plan a future with someone else. It's finding ultrasound pictures hidden in his desk drawer. It's learning the children you couldn't give him are growing in another woman's body. Her hand went to her chest, rubbing at something under her coat. I was in the hospital when Lydia's plane crashed. Hysterectomy complications, removing the last chance of giving David what he wanted. And then God answered my prayers. The plane went down. Lydia was gone. I thought it was over. You put the tracker in her coffee. Tracker. She tilted her head. Is that what you think happened? There's video of me at an airport coffee shop. Nothing more. She pulled papers from her coat pocket, legal documents. Custody petition, already filed. My lawyer says, with my father's influence, I'll have them by week's end. They're blind. You can't care for blind children. St. Catherine's orphanage can. Same place their so-called mother was planning to dump them. And she smiled then, teeth too white against pale lips. Oh, yes. I know about that, about the appointment, about how sick she really is, how nurses talk, especially when someone's paying them to. Catherine moved back toward the altar, fingers trailing along pew backs. $2 million? That's what I'm offering. For what? Walk away? Leave the children? Leave New York? Leave everything? $2 million to disappear? No, $3 million. There's not enough money. Everyone has a price, even saints, even you. She pulled out more papers. Your business is gone. The board voted you out an hour ago. Your accounts are frozen pending investigation of financial irregularities. Irregularities my father arranged, but good luck proving that. Thane's phone buzzed. Text from his accountant. Board voted. Everything frozen. Call me. You have nothing left. Catherine continued. No money for lawyers. No money for errors treatment. No money for special schools for blind children. But $3 million. Blood money. Money that could save her life. Experimental treatments in Germany, Switzerland, places that don't take Medicare. She stepped closer again, and that medicinal smell was stronger. Digitalis, maybe. Atlas had been right about the heart condition. The children need their mother, she said. Their real mother, the one raising them. Let me take them to St. Catherine's. They'll be cared for. You take the money, save Alara, disappear together. Everyone wins, except the twins. They're blind. Their lives are already. Don't. The word came out sharp enough to echo. Those children are perfect exactly as they are. Catherine's face changed, something ugly breaking through the controlled surface. Perfect. They're damaged, broken. Reminders of sin and failure and... She stopped, hand clutching her chest. Her breathing went shallow, rapid. The pink in her cheeks drained to gray. Your heart, Thane said. It's nothing. Prison food, prison doctors. They ruined... She stumbled, caught herself on a pew. The papers. Sign them. You need a doctor. I need those children gone. They killed David, you know. The pregnancy. He was coming to see them when his plane... Another stumble. This time she went down, knees hitting the chapel floor hard. Thane could have helped her. Should have. Probably. Instead, he stood there, watching her struggle to breathe, watching her fumble for pills in her pocket. The bottles scattered across the floor, white tablets rolling under pews. Please, she gasped. He knelt, picked up one pill, read the label on the bottle, Digitalis, just like Atlas had heard. But the expiration date was 2 years old. These are expired. They still work. Sometimes, please. He held the pill out. She grabbed for it. Missed. Grabbed again. Got it. Dry swallowed. Sat there on the chapel floor, waiting for her heart to remember its rhythm. Your father arranged this, Thane said. Your release? The timing? My father wants the scandal gone. The children are scandal incarnate. Her breathing was evening out, color returning slowly. One way or another they disappear. Either you take the money and run, or I take them and they vanish into the system. There's a third option. What's that? You die. He said it calm as discussing weather. Heart condition, expired medicine, stress of prison, could happen any moment. She laughed, weak but genuine. You're not a killer, Sterling. You're barely a fighter. You let your wife go over photographs. You'll let these children go for less. Footsteps in the chapel doorway. Marcus appeared with 2 security guards. Ms. Walsh, you're in violation of your supervised release. You're not supposed to be within 500 feet of the victims. What victims? She stood, using the pew for support. I'm visiting the chapel, praying for sick children. Is that a crime? When you burned their building down? Yes. Prove it. Marcus held up his phone. Your ankle monitor. It shows you at the building at the time of the fire. Your parole officer is on his way. Catherine's face went white again, but not from her heart. That's impossible. The monitor was... She stopped, hacked by the same people who helped you fake being home. Marcus smiled, sad and tired. Your father's friends aren't as loyal as you think. They kept the real data. Insurance, they called it. The security guards moved forward. Catherine backed toward the altar. You can't. My father is being arrested right now, Marcus said. Federal agents at his home, conspiracy, murder for hire, witness tampering. Your testimony about the tracker triggered an investigation. They've been building a case for months. I never testified about any tracker. No, but they have the coffee shop video, and now they have you on recording discussing it with Mr. Sterling. Marcus held up his phone again. Hospital security upgraded after the pediatric ward thefts. Every room is wired, even the chapel. Catherine ran, not fast. Her heart wouldn't let her. But she made it 3 pews before the guards caught her. They cuffed her gentle enough. Professional. She didn't fight, just sagged between them like all the fight had leaked out. As they led her past Thane, she stopped. Ilara's dying. You know that, right? The children will be alone. At least I would have given them structure, discipline, love. Thane interrupted. You would have given them everything but love. Love! She spit the word. Love is what killed my marriage. Love is what killed your sister. Love is what's killing Ilara. But you still worship it like it means something. They took her away. The chapel fell quiet except for the electric hum of prayer candles that were never real flames. Just bulbs pretending. Marcus put his hand on Thane's shoulder. You need to come back upstairs. The twins, they're asking for you. But Thane... Marcus paused. It's Ilara. She's taken a turn. The smoke damage combined with the cancer. How long? Hours, maybe less. She's conscious, but barely. She wants to see you, to say goodbye. They walked back through the hospital corridors, past the gift shop selling flowers for people who wouldn't see another spring, past the morgue where Lydia had been identified 6 years ago, past all the small tragedies that made up a hospital's daily inventory. At Ilara's room, Marcus stopped. There's something else. Something she asked me not to tell you unless we got to this point. What? She's pregnant? 7 weeks? Yours. From before the divorce was final. The cancer drugs have been killing her faster because she refused the ones that would hurt the baby. The floor seemed to shift under Thane's feet. Through the window, he could see Ilara in the bed, surrounded by machines, dying, carrying their child. The twins were there too, Atlas holding her left hand, Aurora her right. He reached for the door handle, then stopped. Inside that room was everything he'd thrown away and everything he might still lose. 4 years of pride had brought them here, and now there might not be 4 hours left. The door handle was cold under Thane's palm. Through the narrow window, he watched Aurora's fingers trace Ilara's face, memorizing the geography of her mother's bones. 7 weeks, he said to Marcus. She knew for 7 weeks. She found out the day you served divorce papers. Ironic timing. Marcus pulled a folder from his coat. She made me promise to give you these if things went bad. Letters, maybe 30 of them, addressed to Thane but never sent. The earliest dated 4 years ago, the newest yesterday. Read them after, Marcus said. She needs you present now, not lost in the past. Thane pushed open the door. The room smelled of disinfectant and something else, that particular sweetness that came before the end. He'd smelled it with his mother, his father, death, announcing itself in perfume. Mr. Sterling's here, Atlas announced, though Thane hadn't made a sound. His breathing is different, scared, but trying not to be. Ilara's eyes opened slowly, focused with effort. The ventilator was gone, but oxygen tubes ran to her nose. Her lips were cracked despite the petroleum jelly someone had applied. You came? Her voice was barely there, like wind through empty rooms. Of course I came. Not, of course. You didn't come for 4 years. No accusation in it, just fact. The children, Catherine, arrested. Federal agents have her and her father. It's over. Nothing's over. Her hand moved to her stomach. protective gesture over something too small to show. Marcus told you about the baby. Yes. Aurora's head snapped up. Baby. Elara closed her eyes. I wanted to tell you differently. When you were older, you're having a baby. Atlas felt for Elara's stomach, hands gentle as butterfly wings. I don't hear a heartbeat yet. Oh, too early. Sweetheart, maybe in a few weeks. She stopped, coughed, pink foam at her lips. Thane grabbed tissues, wiped it away. Mama's dying, Aurora said, not a question. Yes, baby, but the baby inside is okay. Marcus checked the monitors. The baby's fine, strong heartbeat for 7 weeks. Then Mama's not really dying, Atlas said. Part of her keeps going. From the mouths of babes, Thane thought. Truth that adults complicated into philosophy. Serafina appeared in the doorway, still in her ruined dress. The investigator found something else about the photographs. Not now, Thane said. Yes, now. Elara needs to hear this. She came in, stood at the foot of the bed. The photographer who took those pictures of you and Marcus, he wasn't hired by Catherine or by me. Elara's eyes opened wider. Then who? David, the twins' father. He hired someone to document you and Marcus together, make it look like an affair. He was building a case to take the twins from you if Lydia died. The room went silent, except for the mechanical breath of machines. He knew Lydia was in danger, Serafina continued, knew his wife was planning something. So he created insurance. If something happened to Lydia, he could claim you were unfit, take the children. But he died too, Thane said. No. Serafina held up her phone, showed a photograph, a man in his 50s, gray-haired, standing outside a house in what looked like Maine. He faked his death, has been living under another name. The investigator tracked him through the payments to the photographer. Elara tried to sit up. Couldn't. He's alive. The twins' father is alive and wants nothing to do with them. Signed away all rights 2 years ago, the investigator says. Married again, has 2-sided children, doesn't want reminders of his old life. Then the photographs were real manipulation, just not by who you thought. Serafina moved closer. I found them when I was researching Thane, thought they were proof of an affair. Showed them to him because I wanted him free to marry me. I didn't know they were staged. You knew they were wrong? Elara whispered. Somewhere? You knew? Yes. Maybe. I don't know. Serafina sat on the bed's edge, careful not to jostle tubes and wires. I wanted Thane, wanted the life he could give me, the safety of it. Safety! Elara's laugh turned into coughing, more pink foam. There's no safety, just moments between disasters. A knock at the door. De Morrison from Mount Sinai entered. The oncologist who'd been treating Elara for 3 years. He carried a tablet, face unreadable. Mrs. Sterling. Ms. James. Elara corrected Bue. Ms. James. I've been reviewing your case with colleagues in Germany. There's a new treatment, experimental but promising. I'm too sick and pregnant. The pregnancy might actually help. The hormones could slow the cancer's growth, buy us time. He showed them the tablet, charts and numbers that meant nothing to Thane but made Marcus lean forward with interest. It's CAR T-cell therapy, Marcus explained. They reprogram your immune cells to fight the cancer, like turning your body's army against the invader. Success rate, Elara asked. 40% achieve remission. 60% don't, but without it. Morrison didn't finish. Didn't need to. How much insurance won't cover it? Experimental treatments rarely are. Out of pocket, around $600,000. Thane's chest tightened. $600,000 he didn't have anymore. Everything frozen, stolen, lost. I'll pay, Serafina said. Everyone turned to stare. My trust fund, what's left of it, it's enough. Why? Alara's voice was threadbare. Because I helped break this. Maybe I can help fix it. She stood, pulled out her phone. I'll make the calls. Germany can be ready in a week if she's stable enough to travel. Morrison checked Ilara's vitals again. We'd need to get the lung inflammation down. Week of intensive treatment here first, then medical transport to Munich. The children, Ilara started. Come with us, Thane said. All of us together. You can't. Your business, the board, gone. All of it gone. He said it without regret. Nothing left but what matters. Atlas moved around the bed, found Thane's hand. You lost all your money. Every penny. Good, the boy said. Now you can pay attention to important things. Aurora joined her brother, like us, exactly like you. Ilara's eyes filled with tears that didn't fall. I'm scared. Me too, Thane admitted. What if it doesn't work? What if I die in Germany? The children will have me and Marcus and apparently Serafina. He looked at his former fiancée. On the phone, arranging international medical transport like she'd done it before. They'll have family. Promise me something. Ilara's hand found his, grip weak as tissue paper. If I die, tell the baby about me, not the sick me. The me who danced in the kitchen while cooking, who read stories with different voices, who loved thunderstorms and sunrise and... She stopped, breathless. You'll tell them yourself. Promise anyway. I promise. Morrison left to arrange treatment protocols. Serafina followed, still making calls. That left Thane with Ilara and the twins and the weight of everything unsaid. Read one, Ilara said, nodding at the letters in his hand. Anyone? He picked randomly. Her handwriting, shaky but clear. Day 1, 047, the twins started school today. Special education for the blind. Atlas cried because the other children could see colors he'll never know. Aurora comforted him. Said colors are just light wearing different clothes. Sometimes they're so wise it breaks my heart. I wanted to call you, tell you what your sister's children have become, but you made it clear. We're dead to you. So I write letters to a ghost, which seems fitting since I'm becoming one myself. Another day. 789. Saw you today at the hospital. You were visiting someone in cardiac. Walked right past me in the lobby. I wanted to call out, tell you about the cancer, about the twins, about how Atlas has your father's stubborn streak and Aurora has your mother's grace. But you look through me like I was glass. Maybe I am. Maybe I have been all along. One more, older, paper-worn, soft. Day, 2 weeks since you threw me out. The twins don't understand why we left the big house for a car. I tell them it's an adventure. Atlas counts the raindrops on the windshield while Aurora sings to keep us warm. I found out yesterday I'm pregnant. Yours, of course. But how can I tell you when you won't answer calls, when your lawyer sends cease and desist letters? So I won't. This child will be mine alone. Raised like the twins with love instead of money. Stop, Ilara whispered. That's enough pain for one day. But Thane saw the last letter, dated yesterday. Final letter. Tomorrow I place the twins at St. Catherine's. This is goodbye to the life I built from the wreckage you left. If you ever read these, know this, I forgive you. For the accusations, the divorce, the disbelief. But I don't forgive myself for loving you still. That seems to be my cancer too. Spreading despite treatment, refusing remission. The twins think you're traveling, building hotels in the clouds. Let them keep that story. It's kinder than the truth. You were going to give them up today, Thane said. If we hadn't met at the crosswalk, God works in mysterious ways. Ilara's eyes closed. Or maybe just in crosswalks and coffee shops and hospital rooms. Atlas yawned, the day catching up to his 6-year-old body. Aurora was already drooping, head against the bed rail. They need sleep, Ilara said. Real beds, not hospital chairs. I'll take them to my apartment, Marcus offered from the doorway. Janet's sister is there. She'll help. I want to stay with Mama, Aurora protested, but her eyes were already closing. I'll be here when you wake up, Ilara promised. You said that before, when you went for surgery last time, but you were gone 3 days. This time is different. Promise. Ilara looked at Thane, question in her eyes. He nodded. I promise, baby. Tomorrow we start fighting properly, with medicine and hope and all of us together. Marcus gathered the twins, Atlas on his hip, Aurora holding his hand. They left quietly, but Atlas called back, Mr. Sterling, Mama's heart sounds better when you're here. Stay close. When they were gone, Ilara's composure cracked, sobs shook her fragile body, setting off monitor alarms. A nurse rushed in, checked readings, adjusted medications. She needs rest, the nurse said to Thane. I need him, Ilara corrected. 4 years of rest from him nearly killed me. The nurse left. Thane pulled the chair closer, took Ilara's hand. Her wedding ring was gone, but the indent remained, permanent as a scar. Tell me about the baby, he said. What's to tell 7 weeks? Size of a blueberry, morning sickness, competing with chemo nausea. She managed a weak smile. Perfect timing, as always. We'll get through this. She turned to look at him fully. There is no we. You made that clear. I was wrong. About which part? Thinking I cheated, throwing me out, ignoring me for 4 years while I raised your sister's children and battled cancer, and all of it, every single part. She studied his face like Aurora had earlier, memorizing. You can't just say sorry and make it disappear. I know. The children need stability, routine. They can't have you dropping in and out. I'm not going anywhere. You always go somewhere. Shanghai, Tokyo, Dubai. Not anymore. The board took it all. Remember, I'm nobody now. Just a man sitting with the mother of his child. Children, she corrected. The twins are yours too. If you want them, I want them. I want all of you. She closed her eyes. I'm too tired to fight, too tired to forgive, too tired for anything but survival. Then survive. That's all I ask. For the children, for yourself. They need their mother breathing, not martyred. A machine beeped. The IV bag was empty. The nurse returned, hung a new one, checked vitals again, everything efficient, professional, kind. When they were alone again, Ilara spoke. There's something else about Germany. The treatment. What if it fails? If I die there, I want to be buried beside Lydia. She saved her children by sending them to me. Maybe I can save mine by going to her homeland. Munich isn't her homeland. She was born in New York. No. Ilara pulled a paper from under her pillow. She was born in Munich. Your parents were stationed there. Military service. She came back at 3 months old. It's on her real birth certificate. Thane stared at the document. German writing, official stamps. His sister. Born in the city where Ilara might be reborn or die. How long have you known? Since she died. She kept it in the safety deposit box with the twins' papers, said if anything happened, take them home. Ilara's eyes opened. Maybe home isn't a place. Maybe it's just the people who refuse to let you go. Before Thane could respond, Morrison returned with another doctor, young, Indian features, carrying a laptop. "This is Dr. Patel from Munich. She's been reviewing your case." The young doctor smiled. "Ms. James, I have found something interesting in your blood work, an antibody that might make you particularly responsive to our treatment." She turned the laptop toward them. Charts, graphs, medical terminology that meant nothing to Thane. "It's from the pregnancy," Dr. Patel explained. "The fetal cells are already teaching your immune system to fight differently. If we can harness that—" "You're saying the baby might save me. I'm saying the baby gives us a chance we didn't have yesterday." Ilara's hand found her stomach again. "How soon can we leave? 1 week? You need to be stronger for the flight." "Then let's start." Morrison and Patel left to arrange protocols. Serafina returned, looking exhausted but determined. "It's done. Medical jet reserved. Apartment rented in Munich. The investigator is handling passports for the children." "Why are you doing this?" Ilara asked again. "Because I've been watching you for 2 years. Through windows, through investigators, through careful distance." Serafina sat down, pulled off her ruined shoes. "I know you sing when you cook. Know you check on the twins 17 times each night. Know you write in that journal, even when your hands shake too much to hold the pen." She looked at Thane. "I know everything about your life except how to live it. Maybe if I help save a wood, I'll learn." The room fell quiet. Outside, New York went on with its business of living and dying, neither caring much about the small drama in room 47. Then Atlas's voice came from the doorway. "Uncle Marcus." Marcus appeared, the boy in his arms. He couldn't sleep, said he heard something important. "What did you hear, buddy?" Thane asked. Atlas tilted his head, that bird-like gesture of intense listening. "The baby." "I can hear it now, just barely, like a whisper underwater." "That's impossible," Morrison said from behind Marcus. 7 weeks, no audible shh. Atlas held up his hand. "There, hear it, lub-doop, fast like hummingbird wings." Everyone held their breath, listening. Of course they heard nothing, but Atlas smiled. First real smile since the fire. "The baby's strong," he announced. "Stronger than the sick parts. It's going to win." From the mouths of blind babes, Thane thought. Then Ilara's monitor alarmed. Her eyes rolled back, body convulsing. Morrison rushed in, called for help. They pushed everyone out, worked over her still form. Through the door's window, Thane watched them inject something into her eye, watched her body go still, watched Morrison's face tighten with concern. The baby might save her, or the effort might kill her first. The turkey was burning. Thane could smell it through the thin apartment door. That particular char that meant the bottom was black while the top stayed raw. He shifted the grocery bags to one arm, knocked with the other. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. Atlas's voice drifted through the door, counting footsteps. The lock turned. Ilara stood there, alive, 6 months, since Munich, since the treatment that bought time. Her hair had grown back silver white, cropped short like a boy's. The hollows under her cheekbones had filled slightly. She wore his old Yankee shirt from their marriage, hanging loose over jeans that finally stayed up without a belt. "You're late." But she smiled, the kind that reached her eyes now. "Miss Chen needed help with her groceries." He held up the bags. "She sent dumplings." The apartment smelled of burning turkey and something else, paint. Aurora sat at the coffee table, fingers covered in color, working on something by texture. Atlas beside her, reading Braille cards Thane had made for his new consulting business. Sterling, family consulting. 3 clients so far. Enough for rent. The bird's done for, Ilara said, moving back to the kitchen. Her gait was steady, no limp. The German doctors called it responding well. Not remission, not yet, but responding. Thane set down the groceries, pulled the smoking turkey from the oven, black on bottom, raw on top, just as predicted. Pizza, already ordered. She leaned against the counter. Marcus is bringing it. Through the window, Brooklyn spread out gray and ordinary. No Manhattan skyline from here, no leather and chrome. Just brick and concrete and the bodega across the street where Atlas knew every step. The door opened without knocking. Mrs. Chen with dumplings. Mr. Rodriguez with beer. The Nguyen family with spring rolls. The apartment filled. 13 people where 6 would be tight. Atlas navigated perfectly, counting breaths and footsteps. Aurora sang something tuneless and sweet. Ilara swayed, caught herself on the counter. Thane's hand found her waist, steady but not intrusive, under his palm, the slight swell that wasn't visible yet. 7 weeks, size of a blueberry, she'd said. The pregnancy that might be killing her faster or saving her, depending on which doctor you asked. Toast, Mrs. Chen said, raising apple juice. To family. Everyone raised whatever they held. Thane's phone buzzed. Email from his former CFO. The board wanted him back. Stock down 60%. He deleted it without reading more. After dinner, after neighbors left, after twins were asleep, Ilara sat on the patched couch with the journal. Still writing, though her hands shook less now. I have something, she said, pulling out a small box. Inside, 2 rings made from twisted wire, uneven, sharp in places. The twins made them. For when you're ready. Ready for what? Whatever comes next. She placed the box between them. The adoption papers are on the table. Marcus drew them up. Thane looked at the papers. Legal language making him father to children he already loved. He signed without reading further. 2 years. That's what passed. 2 October afternoons between dying and living. The garden behind Mrs. Chen's building had folding chairs from the church, carnations from the corner bodega. Ilara walked without help. Second-hand dress altered to fit. 6 months along with their second chance. The twins guided her with their white canes wrapped in ribbon. Marcus stood at the card table altar, ordained online for this. Do you have the rings? Atlas pulled them out, not wire anymore, but still simple. Gold bands bought with Thane's first real consulting check. Actually, Aurora said, we want the wire ones. She had them in her pocket. The originals, sharp and imperfect and exactly right. The ring caught on Ilara's knuckle, required twisting. Her hands were fuller now, not bones wrapped in skin. The cancer would return. They all knew it, but not today. By the power vested in me by the internet, Marcus said. Everyone laughed, even Serafina, sitting in back, brown hair grown out natural, social work certificate in her purse, learning to help instead of hurt. They kissed. The twins made gagging sounds. Someone's German shepherd barked from a fire escape. The reception was in the same garden, potluck on folding tables. Mr. Rodriguez played guitar. The Nguyen children chased fireflies the twins couldn't see but could hear. Dance with me, Ilara said. They moved careful around her belly. The baby kicked, strong. Atlas had been right about that too, hearing its heartbeat before the machines could find it. I need to tell you something, Ilara whispered, connecting hearts. Friends. I need to tell you what I learned watching this family break and mend. We spend so much time counting things that don't matter. Dollars in banks, square footage in houses, titles on business cards. Thane counted everything except his wife's heartbeats. Those blind children could hear truth in a person's breathing while we sighted folks walked past pain every day. You know what haunts me? Elara wrote letters for 4 years to a man who wouldn't read them. She forgave him while dying. How many of us are too proud to forgive while living? I've been thinking about my own stubborn silences, the apologies I never made. Maybe that's why this story needed telling, to remind us that love isn't measured in what we own, but in who shows up when we're falling apart. Note to readers: this work is inspired by true stories of families facing medical and personal crises. Created solely for entertainment purposes, this story does not condone, encourage, or promote any form of violence or harmful behavior. All characters and events are products of the author's imagination, and any resemblance to real people or events is purely coincidental. The medical conditions, treatments, and legal situations depicted are fictional and should not be considered medical or legal advice. If you or someone you know faces similar challenges, please seek appropriate professional help from qualified medical providers, counselors, or legal advisors. Thank you for allowing me to share this story of redemption and hope.